I'm Alicia. I'm the mom behind Secular and Nerdy. And today I want to talk about why we decided to homeschool and why we continue to homeschool. It was about 5 years ago we decided to go down the homeschooling path. Um, Typically, I don't call doing preschool at home or doing those type of activities at home homeschool, just because I think that's just a part of parenting. Teaching your kids their letters and their numbers and shapes and colors and stuff. It's something that all parents should teach, whether or not they plan on homeschooling or sending their child to a brick and mortar school. But that was when we had decided to homeschool. We decided to go down this path. At the time, I had planned on sending my oldest daughter to a language academy. It was our immersion studies academy. And they offered French and Spanish. And we were going to do Spanish because her dad is from Mexico. And so I just thought that would be a good idea for her to have some formal instruction in Spanish. But when I actually got there to get her signed up, they said they had so many families interested that my daughter was not considered at risk. And the reason she was considered not at risk was because I graduated high school and I was married to her father. So those two things, apparently just it made her ineligible. So instead, I looked around some other preschools. And, I was finding some that were religious, which was not an option for us, or they were just booked up. I did find one that I got really excited about because the program was through the Natural Parenting group that here in Cincinnati. So I was really excited about it, and I got the fee together, and I got the application, and I was getting ready to go take it to them. And so I read the fine print at the bottom. And it said that by signing the paperwork and submitting it, I released the school, the program, and all the employees. I released them from liability if my daughter was to be, injured, even in cases of negligence. And I was not comfortable signing that because I think, especially in cases of negligence, they should be held responsible. So I decided that, because of that, I was not going to send her. Now, homeschooling was always something that I thought was interesting. It was in the back of my mind. But I just wasn't sure, it was something we could do. I was intimidated by it. I didn't know if I had the patience. But we decided to go ahead and just do preschool at home. So the fee that I was going to use for her to go to this program, I instead took it to Barnes & Nobles and bought games and, a couple of the Brain Pop workbooks, which weren't really used. The games we used all the time, but the workbooks weren't really used. And so we did preschool at home. And it went really well. And I know there wasn't a huge change of keeping her home, that year when I had been home with her for years before. So it was just, it was another layer to our day. And we decided then that, we were going to go ahead and send her to kindergarten. We thought, we'll do that. So I went and I got her signed up for kindergarten. And at the time, I worked part-time for WIC. I was a breastfeeding peer counselor, and the office building that I was in was across this large parking lot where there was a little shopping center and a bank and a couple fast food restaurants. My office building was on one side. The school she was going to go to was on the other side of this large parking lot. And I thought it was so cool because, I planned on taking her to school in the days I worked and taking her home and going to have lunch with her. I was going to be really involved. But that summer, a grocery store had opened up right there in that little shopping district. And it was next to the school. All that was in between them was the entrance into this parking lot. And 3 times that the summer before she would have started, that all the businesses in that area got put on lockdown because an armed gunman or an armed robber went into that grocery store and robbed it. And that was just in that summer. It was a period of just a couple months, and everything had to go on lockdown. And just the thought of this school is right next to this place that keeps getting robbed. It's already not in the greatest area. It's already it's one of the better schools in the school district, but it's still not rated the greatest. All these things were just piling up in my mind. It's not a great school to begin with. I mean, it's one of the better ones, but it's still not great. It's dangerous because it's next to this place that keeps getting robbed by people who are armed. And I also got I got the information packet in the mail for her, for the beginning of the school year. And it said she was going to be picked up at 7 a.m. on the bus, and then she'll be dropped off at nearly 6 p.m. every day. So, they're wanting my young 5-year-old child to be, be at school, being picked up and dropped off for that many hours. That's really rough on a kid. She gets home, all she's going to have time to do is eat, do homework, and go to sleep. And I don't think that's healthy for a child of that age. So I was already, thinking about just keeping her home and homeschool for kindergarten. But I was worried, would I be able to do kindergarten? That's just, getting to actual schoolwork. But all these things piling up, I, talked to my husband about it, and he agreed with me. There was just too many negatives and not enough positives. So we decided to actually keep her home and homeschool her that year. Unfortunately, later that year, Sandy Hook happened. The Sandy Hook shooting happened. And it was such a devastating thing. My child was the same age as many of these kids who were killed. And I couldn't wrap my mind around that, this could have been her. I mean, there's always the opportunity. School shootings has been on the rise. And, I sent her to this building where, I can't protect her, or, that just cemented the fact of we were going to continue to homeschool. So I guess in the beginning, we did kind of start the homeschool to keep her safe. But that's not why we've continued to homeschool. We continue to homeschool because my daughter has learned very well working with me. One-on-one attention really is the best way for her to learn. And then, there's times when she struggled with reading. I was able to notice that right away and work with her and come up with a plan. We didn't have to have a bunch of meetings with the teacher, hoping that the teacher would have even noticed it right away, because, I have nothing but respect for teachers, but many times they're overworked. They're not going to be able to figure something out right away with one child out of 25. So because she was home with me, I was able to notice that right away and work on that. And then I've also noticed it's helped her flourish. It's helped her build up her own personality without, other kids shaping it. She's extremely quirky, and she has a very developed sense of what is right and wrong. And I think her being home has helped her develop that. And then, my youngest daughter came in right along with her, homeschooled as well. And, the same things with her. She's built up her own personality without, being shaped by others. She, struggled with a few things. I was able to notice right away and work on that with her. They are both just, very innocent, very, I don't know. They're amazing kids. And I love being home with them. And I love that, homeschooling does provide us more time as a family. My husband works many hours. He works for himself typically. And, you know, if they were, if they went to a public school, when he's off on like a Wednesday randomly, if they were in school, they wouldn't be able to go out and do things with their dad on that. They would have to miss school, which could cause, truancy and all that bag of trouble. Instead, we homeschool. I can decide, okay, we can take this Wednesday off, and then take this Wednesday off, and then we can make up whatever work tomorrow or whatever, and we can go to the museum or the park or wherever, or just hang out at home. And they've also, being home, they've been free to, build up hobbies. If they're interested in something, they can, look into it and do it. They don't only have a couple hours, every day after coming home and doing schoolwork to be a kid. They can just be a kid anytime and follow whatever interests they have. So just for us, homeschooling really works for us. And it really works for my kids. Now, homeschooling may not work for every family. If it doesn't work for your family, then it doesn't. I don't have any judgment on that. Because we all are different. Our kids are all different. Different things work for different people. But homeschooling really is something that works great for my kids. And, I plan on homeschooling for as long as they want to continue. If they want to go straight through high school, then that's what we'll do. If they, decide they want to go to a brick and mortar school, that's something we can do too. But at this time, being home is what makes them happy, and it makes me happy to have them home. So what are some reasons that you homeschool? And let me know down below. And if you have any questions or comments, you can leave them down below as well. And I hope you have a great day.